Hey, welcome back, Rise Up in Real Estate Nation. We're glad that you are here today for a live stream. We're actually on thanks to my guests, several different places. I want to do a little bit of bookkeeping before I introduce everybody today. This show is about real estate, but it turns out to be about humanity more than anything. We talk a lot about how we can be better, what we can do to be better. This is a live episode where you can participate by asking questions. If you've whatever and I don't care if I know you or not. Like if you're on one of my friends here pages and you want to throw a question at them to stump them or stump me, we're here for it. So throw the questions in the comments and I'll post them as we go. And we'll just have an open discussion. What we'll do with this live episode is we will edit it and probably cut everything out that I say and leave all their information in for next Monday's podcast that goes on Spotify, Apple Pod, and all of the other things that you will be able to benefit from. So first of all, let me introduce my co-host, Vince. Vince,
hey,
you're back from the dead, man. He had a long week of double pneumonia last week. Yeah, that's why I was in the hospital last Tuesday. We did the show Monday. Tuesday was in the hospital, and I was glad we were doing this via another plug for StreamYard. So glad we weren't in person.
How you feeling with me last week? That's for sure.
Yeah, are you feeling better or?
100% better. IV antibiotics, got the oxygen levels back up. It was touch and go for a minute. I said, this is a terrible way to go if this is how it happens. It's not how I envisioned it, but it felt like it at the time.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're here. There's a lot of, it's got to get bad to go to the hospital these days. Like, it's got to be real bad for me to go to a hospital. So I know it was for you. But Vince has been hosting, guys. Vince has been hosting this show with me for about a year, and we're doing all of that together. So let's introduce each other. I want to tell you before these guys talk, and this isn't a joke. I joke a lot, but I have a few mentors in my life that lead me down a path of sometimes it's straight, sometimes it's not straight. But these three guys are definitely on the list of 5 or 6 people that I consider mentors, leaders in our real estate industry, but just good humans that lead me on a right path. So blessed to have them on here today. And Charlie, I want to start with you, Charlie. Why don't you introduce yourself? Maybe say how long you've been in real estate. Give us some curiosity about Charlie, and then we'll jump down to Nimesh and go on from there.
Well, thanks, Dad, and happy Veterans Day to those who have served. We truly appreciate that. I was licensed almost 30 years ago. Got a broker's license shortly thereafter. Was a commercial realtor. Got a CCIM designation and an SIOR designation, all by the year 2000. And 2008 came. Pretty much lost everything, decided we needed to diversify the business. I got into the residential real estate business and have really figured that's where I'm supposed to be. And so it's been ever since, going on 12 years now.
And tell me your role at your organization. Most people, like, we have agents on here. We have a lot of different things, but what do you do there?
Yeah, so I'm the broker. I'm the vision caster. I throw it out there, and we all pursue it with unburdened vitality and enthusiasm. And so that's the tiny little. I also follow my face all the time, and so the team's there to pick me up, pat me on the butt, put me back on the field, and we keep going.
That's awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Charlie's last name is Foxworth. We'll link all of their social channels and all that other stuff in a few minutes if you want to reach out to them, if they say anything that you feel like is worthwhile. I don't know. Nimesh, introduce yourself, my friend.
Man, how do I follow that? Charlie, I was waiting for you to say juicy goodness.
Yeah, that's later.
That's later? Okay.
Dad put it on the agenda, I think.
Yeah. Hey, Tad, and hey, guys. My name is Nimesh Patel. I'm the broker owner of Remax Fine Properties. I've been doing this coming up on my 23rd year now. A little like Charlie, early 2000s, got into it and had fun a little bit. I was younger, making a little bit of money, having fun. And then 2007 hit and 8 hit. And then I got the bright idea of saying, well, might as well dive in even deeper. So went ahead and got my brokerage at the end of 2008. So started 2009 in the worst market possible. And it's been going up ever since. And so I'm in Houston and in Austin. Like Charlie said, I think Charlie alluded to is that I try to find the greatest amount of people around me, whether it's within my firm or within colleagues like right here. And I just kind of go with the flow, So I like to participate with everybody here, and at my own firm, it's the same thing. I'll throw out all kinds of stuff, but I got some really good people to keep me in check. So in Austin.
That's great. Welcome to the show. This is our selfie king. Every time we do an event, every time, I'll be surprised if he doesn't bust out a selfie on this show. So we're happy to have you, Nimesh.
I'll do a screenshot on this one. So
there you go. Save it. Tyler, introduce yourself, my friend. Tell us where you're from and how long you've been doing this gig.
So I was actually told that this was an intervention for Nimesh's selfie problem, but I'll hop in here anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. This is my 20th year in real estate. Started in 2004. Had a couple great years of selling. At the time, I was 20 years old, and decided in 2006, 2007 to open a brokerage.
Yes.
And everybody went, "What are you doing?"
I see a common theme.
Yeah. So I am the CEO and janitor. That's just how it works in real estate. But love every second of it. I love that every day, it sounds cliche or whatever you want to call it, that every day is different. But I love the flexibility because I mean, at heart, I am a tech guy. If I wasn't in real estate, I'd probably be a teacher. And so this kind of molds all of those things together. A little bit of sales, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of tech, a little bit of teaching. And you guys all nailed it with, you are a combination of the people that you surround yourself with. So I'm lucky to be sitting here today with this great group. And same thing goes with my brokerage. Got about 200 agents between all the offices from Central Ohio to Central Kentucky, and keeps me on my toes. So
yeah, that was what I was going to ask. And it's not about the numbers, but I think for the listeners' sake, we're in coastal South Carolina, by the way, for those of you that are listening from outside our area. That's where we're located. Let's talk about, Nimesh just mentioned, and Charlie too, Tyler said about 200. How many people are in your sphere of your company? It's not about the numbers, but just to give the people a point of reference on what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm the little guy on the block. I'm only at about 155.
Yeah. Small. Shame on.
That's not small.
Yeah, well, go Texas.
Charlie and Tyler over here.
Yeah,
well, what about you, Charlie?
We're close to 220 in 5 offices covering the right side of Texas.
Awesome. And this is why, Vince, this is pretty cool. Like, here are 3 of my buddies that we've been, like, I remember the first time I met Tyler. It happened to be in Hawaii, I think, but we met each other like right in the beginning when everything was just starting for both of us. And I literally asked these guys last Monday, could you do it next Monday? And within 30 minutes, I had a yes from everybody. So that's the way, that's just how they roll. Their contributors. Well, other than Todd Stock. I think Todd had.
You don't need him here anyway.
Somebody had a wedding. Somebody must have gotten married. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. He's.
That's not because they're not busy or productive. It's because they want to make time for things that matter. So that says a lot in itself to what you've done here as well, Tad.
Yeah. Well, it's just neat to, and it's cool that you all, like, I can hear from talking to you. Maybe we should talk about this for a minute. There's an innate humility in, like, I'm not saying that Nimesh is not an out front guy, because he is. But there's an innate humility in those of you that are just speaking about what you've accomplished. Why is that? Did you have to learn that, or is that a real feeling you have? Somebody jump in there and take that, because it came across real clear.
I'll jump in. There's a hole in this industry, a missing piece, right? And it truly is, and it's kind of our culture here at the office too. Like, we've got a ton of agents that are top producers. If you ask any of them what they do and how they're so successful, they're more than willing to share with you. And so I think that's just kind of the mantra we've taken as a company to make sure that, we're sharing anything that's making us successful. Because I wouldn't be sitting here, and I'm sure some of you wouldn't be, if it wasn't for the conversations we had at a PBS event or a BOC or whatever it might be.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm just paying it forward to try to help other brokers, help agents grow, because there's plenty of business out there for everybody. And I just, I think making sure that they're aware of what's out there and what's available to them is out there.
Yeah.
Let me piggyback off of that, Tyler. You're absolutely right. I mean, what he said, he nailed it. To add on to that, I think the more we share, the more we actually learn as well, right? When you're out and about, whether you're in a group setting or whether you're on something like this, the more I put out there, the more I understand about myself and figuring out what I'm trying to do and what my thoughts and processes are. But then also there's times where if I'm sharing as much as I can, I have someone like Charlie or Tad or Tyler telling me, hey, listen, did you ever think about doing it this way instead? I like that. I like where you're going with it, but had you ever thought of this? And lastly, I just want to throw in there that too many people think that you do it all on your own. You can't do it all on your own. There's too much here, especially at our positions that we're at. We wear too many hats, and having that collaboration just makes us all stronger. Thanks, Jeremy, but that shout out, by the way.
And in the month of gratitude, to pull this back out just a little bit, I don't think humility really can exist without being thankful for the people around us. And that kind of, kicks it forward with you're so grateful for the people around you that kind of where your place is. A lot of us get caught up in the Instagram world of being able to see what everyone else is doing and put out there. We've seen enough BS in our lives to where a lot of transparency and a lot of, look, here's where I failed and I need some help, that we are so eager to step up and try and help. And it's for me is all the time. I mean, it just is. Tyler texted me this morning because evidently in my email that I send out every Monday morning, I may have sent out my password in it, and not the video that usually goes out. So just got a quick text from him, and we fixed it. But it's like I said, it's constant. I mean, it's not like we all don't have a lot of things on our minds, but I am reminded hour by hour of my need for others and needing to appreciate them and be thankful for them, so I don't fall on my face all the time.
Yeah, you guys are probably that are listening or understanding just in the first 5 minutes why these guys are on the show, why they're part of my circle. I call them part of my circle because it's that kind of thing. You can't be selfish. You can't be competitive too much. You can't be cutthroat when you surround yourself with people like that. Vince, I forgot. Charlie, thank you for the reminder. Vince is a veteran. He was in the Air Force for several years, and we appreciate that. It just slipped my mind, and it's selfish of me. But happy Veterans Day to you. What do you think when you listen to three of these guys? Because you're going through a lot in your personal life with change over the last 12 months, if I'm not speaking out of turn, right? I mean, this has been new for you. And what do you think when you hear these bosses talk a little bit about what they're doing?
Yeah, thanks for that acknowledgement, Tad, and for all the veterans that may listen or hear out there. We don't want to, that's not a sidebar piece. We get to cover ourselves with a blanket of freedom every night, as I say, and that did not come without a cost. So it was the most fun that I never want to have again, but I was glad to do it. So yeah, it's my plan coming on today was just to simply sponge and listen because I know. These three guys don't know anything about me, but I know about them. I'm a bit of a fanboy for Tyler's Tech Bulletin. It's one of the few that I read every single time it comes out. Tech with Ty, big shout out. Just when I started getting comfortable, like dangerously comfortable to where it was like counterproductive, Tyler Morton shows up in my life, and I'm like, there's a whole tech world I've got to now learn how to do. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the push on that end. But yeah, I'm just here to sponge and listen. Great group. Excited to hear your guys' perspectives and honored really to be on the call.
Yeah, we have to answer this question right here. Jeremy, who's a faithful listener, says, all-star lineup, no pressure. And there are a lot of agents that listen. Like, I don't know if any of you guys still list and sell. Like, I've moved out of that just because I felt like I needed to in my personal stuff. So what are two things every agent should do in 2025 to be successful? And we could even do it the last 6 weeks of 2024 if we want to.
Yeah, I was going to say start now. This is next year. And start testing right now. Look back, see what worked, what didn't work. start testing one or two new things and kick off next year. Number two would be schedule your vacations and your experiences that you're going to have in the calendar right now, and set them so you can work around them. Although the agents in our office would probably tell you that is one of the best lead generation strategies that they have, but I would go ahead and put that on the calendar.
That's pretty cool that you mentioned that. I'll say this: Jeremy is an advocate. He's always preaching, and he's done a ton of business last 24 months. Vacation's always on the calendar. He doesn't work a Sunday. He doesn't work many Saturdays. He carved that. So it's interesting that he asked the question and you hit it right on the head. What about you, Tyler, or Nimesh, or Vince too? You hop in here. What do you guys recommend?
Well, Charlie's way smarter than me, and I guess actually takes vacations. No,
maybe older.
He's completely right though. There's not much time left in 2024, and so I'm a big proponent of follow the leader. This isn't all new groundbreaking stuff, but send out an email to your clients. Jimmy Mackin sent out one the other week and said, send this email to your clients right now. How much equity have you gained in 2024? Many of my clients have been reaching out because they're considering selling in 2025. To help them, setting aside time this week to prepare updated home value reports. Can I prepare one for your home? P.S. I just completed a report for a client who gained $53,000 in the last 12 months. I think you'll be surprised by your number. That's such a simple thing to do. Yep. Email your clients that. Yep. And so we try to make it so much harder than it is to stay in touch with our clients because we don't know what to say, right? And it really is just say what you're thinking. Say what, a normal human being would say. AI can't replace that. They can help you with it, but have a conversation, pick up the phone, text, call, whatever it is to stay in touch and stay in front of your clients. So we doubled down on going back to the basics. And do we use AI for some of that? Absolutely. Just for repeated touches and those kind of things. But be a human, a good human, and reach out to them and see how they're doing.
Tyler, that's exactly what I was going to say about the going back to the basics. Because a lot of people, when you're listening to, say, some of us, since we are in leadership positions, they think that we're going to have something profound to say, or we're going to give them a magic pill, right? That's not the case. Like Charlie said, start now and go back to the basics. And one of the things that we're doing with a lot of our agents right now is we're cleaning up our databases, right? Because too many people sit here and try to figure out that, okay, let me just keep putting more and more people in these databases, put them on a drip, AI drip, or whatever drip you want to do. And that's that. We tend to forget, again, back to Tyler's point, is that real estate is a contact sport. It is a contact sport. And so we're focusing and doubling down on cleaning up our database a little bit to get to our actual advocates versus just any random people that are on our databases. Yeah, we can put them in there and have them on some drips. But as far as our normal advocate type people in their database, we're touching them more and more and more. And it can't be the AI. It has to be us picking up the phone, texting, getting on their social media, et cetera. And as we double down on that, we feel like we're going to be ready for that bullish 2025.
Yeah, interesting that Tyler just gave you a script. Those of you that are listening, I mean, you can go back and listen to this, write it straight word for word. And anybody wants to know that stuff, right now is a pretty good time to talk about equity in the U.S. So what do you guys think about, now we won't go down I don't want to go down let's all pull up our blue or red card for politics, but what would you think about emailing or calling and saying, hey, people have been waiting on this election to be over. It's over. Are you ready for the next step? What do you guys think about that?
Have you seen all the funny memes that are out there right now from real estate agents, basically just saying, you said that you're going to wait till the election's over. It's over. Are you ready now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Charlie talked about, 25 starts now. And if you're this agent, I'm sorry, but hopefully this is going to help you avoid this in the future. If you didn't prospect buyers the last 3 months because you were like, we're in a holding pattern, we're in a freeze. Well, it's the Monday after the election result. You should have a long list of people to call today. And if you're not doing that, then that's a prime example of what you're going to miss out on in January 25 if you don't start now. So don't be that guy.
But
Yeah.
Tad, going back to what you just said, you're bringing up the election. It has nothing to do with politics or which side you're on. What everybody needs to understand, and hopefully everybody pays attention to this right here. 8 out of the last 9 elections, the real estate market has exploded the following year. Okay, the only one that it didn't was 2009 when me, Tyler, and Charlie decided to get into this. But 8 out of the last 9 elections, the very following year, real estate has exploded in a positive way. You should understand that, know that that's coming, and be very bullish on what you're trying to do for 2025.
Yeah, I think we almost, I did a video a few weeks ago that was talk ready for launch. The average agent who has no proactivity in their business is going to be better the next 12 months than they have been the past 24, if they're still in the business. Those of us that are doing vital daily activities on a regular basis are really getting ready to see it happen, I think. My opinion is, you have the rates that are getting ready to do something. Now the consumer confidence has got to be better than it was 8 weeks ago. So going into next year is going to be really strong if you're ready to receive it. Who's got a dog? Is that Nimesh? Okay. Listen, we had a lady on not too long ago, Tracy. She had a whole room of dogs. She was the only one on the show. So it was us and the dogs. It was very interesting. Here's a good comment from a really strong one of our team leaders, Tyler. And you guys probably know TJ. But TJ, you definitely need to meet Nimesh. He's running an amazing team. But I love the Be Human advice. So much time is spent trying to figure out how to say something or set up your call. I love the Be Normal reference. So true. We're people talking to people. We try to put on a show sometimes, don't we? Agents are almost scared, but they're human beings. Just talk about what you want to talk about. He loves. This is his favorite word: authenticity.
Yeah, TJ will sell a $2.5 million house and on the water in jeans and a t-shirt all day. It's just him. It's real every time.
Right. I asked him one time if he had his listing materials because he's going to a pretty big presentation and conversation with this. And he said, yeah, I do. I've got my car. It's going to get me over there. And that's it. That's all he had, So not everybody can do it that way. This is a guy that's been doing it for 25 years. Really, really good. Jeremy says this. Market has had a reset, which means buyers. What are y'all recognizing in different parts of the country? Tyler and you guys down there in Texas, what's the market? If David Scott is on here, I think he might be. I'm sorry, I just said the word market. We do understand that we set the market. We are the market. It just doesn't exist without us. But what are y'all noticing in trends and attitude and stuff down where you guys are? Pendings and listings. What's happening right now?
So we cover several different areas of vastly different economic statuses. And, bottom line is the best markets have been a little bit slower, which is seasonal at this time. The worst markets we're in are seeing some price concessions now. It's not what it was even 3 months ago. But again, some seasonality to that. So anything that comes on that's judged as ready to go or good, there's still a lot of cash that's able to buy, and there's still a fair amount of demand.
Yeah, I see it as stair steps. So we saw this appreciation happen like this, right? So it was like, I would see a house in my market press the 275 mark. Then you'd see one go up for 300 and it would sell. And it would sell for cash. It was crazy the amount of cash that we've seen poured into the real estate market in the last 4 years. And then you're seeing, people try to test that next 5% hurdle, right? That next 5% increase. And it's not happening like we thought because things have backed down a little bit. So now they overpriced. They're sitting in the market a little bit longer. They're coming back down to where they should have priced at to begin with. And then they're coming down even lower. So it's pulling those prices back just a little bit. But that's healthy. That's okay. That's not anything to be concerned with. We're not going to see a 20% drop or a 10% drop even overnight. I think for those that were at BOC, they talked about, hey, the last time we had this many homes sold was like 1993. Yeah. And that, as of 2023 stats, the last time we saw that was 30 years ago. And now we have 70 million more people in the United States. So there still is a demand issue. And that's all. This is general economics, right? It's Econ 101. We have a supply and demand problem. Getting people off the fence, I do believe, is that 5.8% rate that Buffini talked about. So I don't foresee us getting there overnight. I don't foresee us even getting there in the first quarter of next year, but you're still going to have millions of Americans moving because of all kinds of factors, whether it's relocating for a job, divorce, marriage, baby, whatever it might be. So I think first quarter next year is going to start off very, very strong.
And just to jump on top of that for 2 seconds is that I forgot what I was going to say now, but the biggest objection that we've gotten right now is the seller who's still living 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And even with the evidence that we place in front of them, they are insistent that that price is still the price. And right along what Tyler's saying, I mean, we're not seeing a lot, but even if it's 5%, it may not be shown.
Right. We haven't had rapid changes. Sellers don't like they like them up.
We don't
stop. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes rapid changes. So it does take a minute. I think we've got, I don't know who this is right here. This is interesting. Facebook user says, "Hi guys. I bet that's David Scott." So you're welcome for telling him we were going to be on there. Oh, maybe it's this person right here. Does anybody know that person?
Hey, Brittany.
Hey, Brittany. Nice to see you. Yeah. And then Jeremy says this. I think you might have just mentioned this, Tyler. Expects 40% of their business in the fourth quarter. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
No, rates didn't do what we thought they might. If they would have, I think we would have been closer to that number. With that said, we still had a very, very strong September, October, and November is shaping out to be okay. So it's so silly. Like, it may not be in the Carolinas, it may not be in Texas, but in Ohio, our market is very weather dependent. And so, we can just tell, like, hey, if we get a foot of snow in January, we're not showing a lot of houses. There's not a lot of things moving. But if it's 50, 60 degrees, like it is right now, which is crazy for November in Ohio, yeah, we're showing more houses than we normally do.
Awesome.
Jeremy, I will say, bringing up that stat, I'll say this. I can kind of see it happening as far as 40% of them getting ready for their business for 2025, maybe. You're going to see a lot more activity if you actually get proactive and start doing something. Maybe that's what we're thinking, but I don't see it as 40% of their business for the year just being here in the fourth quarter. Tyler's right, not only about the rates, but also what Charlie said. It's a seasonal effect. It's back, right? Through COVID, we all forgot about seasons, right? And then after COVID kind of went away, seasonal effects started happening, and even Tyler's mentioning right now about his weather effects, right? So I don't see it being that high. Oh, it's Jennifer. Yeah. It's Jennifer Lovett. Hey, Jennifer.
Yeah, she's on there. Nice to see you, Jennifer. Another rock star. Jennifer, you're next. You might be on here next week. I don't know. I might call you in a few minutes. So I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee. He's probably watching. I don't know if you guys know Pat.
Yeah.
Pat or not, but I thought I'd mention him. And he's all about this weather, seasonal, and he speaks his mind. Tyler, I'm going to speak my mind. I need a shirt like your shirt. If you've got any in XX, I got one. And watch this. I can.
Hey Tyler, did you ever send me my shirt?
No, not yet.
I can return the favor if you want one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you just let me know. But I love that. So let's talk a little bit about. We can't go down this rabbit hole for too long, but I'd be remiss if I've got you on the show and didn't. I don't know how appropriate your newsletter is to agents that might be listening, but I want to give you a chance to plug it for a second because Nemeshi doesn't plug himself, right? We got to do it for him. So Tyler, tell us a little bit about how that thing started, what it is, where we can find it. Maybe Vince, you could type it in the comments or something. We can figure out how to get that on there.
It's very, very appropriate for agents, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Humans.
Yeah, human. Hey, humans. I love that.
I'm actually implementing some of the stuff from the latest episodes into my wife's telehealth business from that newsletter. So yeah.
No kidding. Yeah. So it started, Chris Smith, who co-founded Curator with Jimmy Mack, and who already quoted once during this episode. Chris started sending out something called the Chris List, which was his name, CHRIS. And, he did the acronyms very similar to how I do tech, which is technology, education, coaching, and how to. And he basically went on this, 1 hour webinar where he was like, every broker, every agent needs to have their own Chris List. And so I said, okay. I'll give this a shot. And so I started sending it out to my agents, started sending it out to agents in my market, and had no idea how it was going to go. And I said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to commit to it for at least 6 months. And if I end up in everybody's spam at the end of 6 months, I'll quit and we'll move on to the next thing. After 6 months, I was shocked. And still to this day, we're closing in on 2 years, which is we're, I think, on number 93, 94. We're still over a 70% open rate, which is insane. You know, I know email metrics because I've spammed people in the past with crap and know that you can consistently get between like a 15 and 20% open rate. But the fact that I'm still getting 70 after almost 2 years means that the content's valuable enough for people to keep reading it. And so I think that's if you're going to start one, it's got to be authentic. Number one. Number two, it's got to be valuable content. And so you've got to dig in, you've got to dive a little bit deeper on some of the topics. You've got to go above and beyond what they can just read on a headline, right? So that's what we try to do. And agents can do the exact same thing. You know, they can do this for their client list and tell their consumers, their clients, what is going on in their market. And I think that's where agents, we often take email for granted because we do get so much spam, but it's the only thing that you can do that's 100% free to reach that many people. You can do social, obviously, same thing, but you're dependent on somebody else's algorithm to do that. With email, if you're sending them something, it's going directly to their inbox. So you know it's going to show up in their view, in their inbox every time.
And how many are on that list now, Tyler? Is it 16 or 17 people or what? How many you got on there?
Closing in over 6,000 right now.
I mean, that's remarkable.
What that out on Tyler? What platform are you using to send that? What have you found is going to get you out of spams just generically because of the software?
Yeah, so we've gradually started shifting over to Beehive.
Okay.
That's what we use as an email platform. We started it out on Wix. They had it built in, which is where I have Agent After Hours, which is how this all started. We were doing interviews like this. But they had an email platform built in. So I just moved people over from that site, and I've started moving them gradually over to Beehive because I don't want to overwhelm and end up in spam for a new platform, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Hey, I'm gonna throw something out there for you guys. You know, he's always there to tell you how he did it, what he's doing, what makes it successful, and all that. You don't have to do it yourself either, but at the very least, you should be reading it, because I swear to God, I read this thing and I just put out one little nugget from there, and then I'll put it out there. I mean, heck, it's trying to, and in my little world, Tyler doesn't know this, but in my little world, it's called Tech with Nim and Tyler. You know, so
I love it.
Well, that's how I feel when I read it. I read every single one, and I don't read all of Darren Hardy's stuff or all of Seth Godin's stuff. But when Tyler's thing comes across my email, I read it. And the reason I do is exactly what Tyler just said. He's taken it one step further than I would take it myself. And I'm always learning every single category, all of his 4 categories. I learn something every week, and that's pretty strong. And I mean, and I'm not his client. I mean, why would I? He's just giving that to me. Well, in a way, I guess I am, because if I have an Ohio referral, I might shoot it to him. Or if I've got a question or I need somebody on my podcast, because look at what it can do. So it's very impressive, Tyler. I can't imagine the time it takes for you to come up with all that content. I know AI is not doing it for you. Tell me about the time it takes.
Yeah, so when we first started, it took me probably 2.5 hours a week to write them. I do occasionally throw in some AI generated content or have it reword stuff for me, or I'll be driving and record something on Apple Notes and have it transcribe it and say, hey, put this in for Tech with Ty, and it will do that. So it's definitely helpful. I've got it down to about 30 to 40 minutes a week. Usually the idea gathering takes me way longer. Like, hey, what do I want to talk about this week? And I think that's where agents, brokers, whoever struggle to find, what am I going to write about? And I think the easiest thing is to document what you do. You know, one of the segments, and I've used it multiple times now, Nimesh and I were on the phone and his dogs were barking. And I said, hey, you know, do you have do you have voice isolation turned on your iPhone? And he was like, no, what's that? And so I told him exactly how to do it right there on the phone. Drag down from your battery, click on this. And he was like, that is insane. And so that's the thing that I take for granted because tech comes easy to me. And it's the same things for agents doing real estate. You know what your verbiage is that you use when you're doing a consultation with a client, but the client doesn't know. So explain it to them and do it in an email format, do it in a video format, and take the things that we take for granted and just little nuggets of information and share it out there.
So Tyler, that actual little tip that you gave me is the gift that never stops for me. Literally every client that I speak to, every agent that I speak to, anybody that I speak to, I tell them to do that and I show them how to do it because you have amazing content on your letter, but that's the one thing that just keeps on giving for me. Now I look like a genius every time. So thank you for that too. But I wanted to add on really quickly. What else makes your newsletter good is it's not just real estate crammed down your throats either, right? He finds something that's interesting, even something like that just helps people on a daily life just understand what's going on, right? So,
although he will tease you a little bit because he's considered a developer, so he gets a beta version of whatever iOS is, tells you about it in the newsletter. When you try and find it, you can't because you're not Tyler. Anyway, so yeah, I got a new iPhone because of Tyler, because of a lot of the ability in notes. And now because of this, I haven't been upgraded to iOS 18.2. I will set my phone down and it will start recording me and send a text to somebody of my conversation. I am sending more butt dials than I have ever sent in my life as a result of this new iPhone that I have.
Love it.
But anyway, a couple of the cool things about it is, that's my iPhone being used as my camera. And I have my computer down here, which I think already the iPhone would talk to different Apple products, which is really cool. But Beehive is BEEHIIV.com. And a lot of you use, I think, Tad, you use BombBomb. That's a great way to do a quick video. But I think what Tyler's not telling you is that it takes him a half hour to an hour to do his newsletter. But it does take him probably a week and that's what he loves to do. He's using all this stuff. He's in it. He's learning. Like for me, I've got a folder in my email box. All my primary sources of information get filtered into a folder, and then I time block to go into that folder to try and keep up with what's going on out there, to appear to be knowledgeable. But yeah, if we use it and we can share it, just like Nimesh does not want to wait, other way. Yeah. Where is he? Down there. He doesn't want to lose anybody without giving them something of value, whether it's in real estate or it's in just how to use your phone. And so these little keys can be huge just in life, just increasing someone when you have a conversation and you walk away and they go, my God, that was an amazing conversation. Right. And it's what a lot of us do intuitively, but it is definitely how you anchor yourself in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's interesting. The Brady Bunch made this look so easy, didn't they? Back in the day.
Yeah, no kidding.
They pointed the right way. I mean, it was crazy. They looked up the right. Like if I told you to look at Tyler, you'd probably look the wrong way. You wouldn't even know what to do.
He's definitely down.
He's down. He's easy. Look at Vince. Can you look at Vince?
Yes. So I'm
Charlotte. Okay, there you go. You got it now. You got to figure it.
I figured it out with the mesh. We had a little dry run.
So
get your hands off me,
Tyler. You said something pretty interesting, and I think I want you guys to all answer this way. Tyler said it's what I enjoy. He's found his niche, right? He's found his area, and he's in that area, and that's the reason when I was thinking about this show that I brought three totally different dudes on here. Like I could have brought three tech guys on here, but Nimesh and Charlie, I want you to talk about like what is your lane? Like, what are you best at, and what do you emphasize? Because, like Nimesh, I know you're a teams guy, right? And you have magnified that, but talk to me about what you feel like y'all's strengths are, and how because you have to leverage your strengths, leverage your weaknesses, I guess, and work within your strengths. I'd love to hear from you guys what you do.
Yeah, I mean, mine is fairly simple and elementary. Basically, I guess my superpower, you want to call it, it's social media and relationships. I'm big on relationships, so I will go out of my way every morning, every evening, whatever you want to call it, wherever we go, to make sure I get to know people and really understand who they are and what they are, and see how I can either be of assistance to them or they can be of assistance to me in any which way, in any part of my life. And for me, social media is also big, right? I do lots of videos. I do lots of just whatever it is on every platform. I catch up with people on social media, right? I can't call 40 people in a day to talk to them about how their life's going, but I can keep up with them on what they're posting on their social medias. So I'm really good about that. And then I'll follow up once I know that, hey, somebody's kid's birthday or somebody just graduated or anything like that. But yeah, Jeremy said it. I love to network. I love to network, yeah. Because I feel like I can't do this by my own. And I already made that clear. But the more I get around people, the better it is. And social media is the big one for me.
And I should mention, Tyler makes tech look easy because he loves it. You just said social media and the social thing is easy for you. That's not easy for everybody. You make it look easy and you make it sound like, hey, that's just it. But Charlie, is social media like an easy thing for you to use a lot? I mean, I've been off social media for a year. I don't even know how to use it. But Charlie, talk about your strengths and what your superpower.
Let me be fair here. I went through this weekend through my email inbox and cleaned it out, if you can believe that. And when I got back to 2022, I realized that, who you are in your own mind is one thing, but who you are in your actions is how other people will define you. So my idea of who I am, and everybody here's idea of who I am, because I realized the number of times I dropped the ball as I was going through with that email that I knew I would go back to and take care of, that it was really shown to me this weekend how many times I have dropped the ball. So with all of that in mind, I would say my strength is simplifying situations, trying to just see the logic in everything, motivating and de-escalating the best I can. I hear other people talk around me about de-escalating because, as you know, in our business, which I don't know if we really chose to be in this business or we were placed in this business by whatever powers that be. But I do feel like all of us belong here, and there is a reason, whether it's social media or tech or just dealing with the humans and network. Nimesh, by the way, is a fantastic, not just networker, but when you're talking about networking, he's a connector as well. Like, he will build a network and place you in it, which I think is more of a superpower than just being a networker. Because I think, there's a lot of us that have gotten together because of him that have made us all better. Tad, about interdependence. That's where this rolls. But yeah, my strength, good Lord. I love what I do. I love the way we do it. I love to operate at a very high level, and I love having people around me that will keep me at that high level.
Yeah, Vince, I'm going to ask you the same question in a second, but I'm going to make a comment so you can think about what your superpower is, because I know you got 5 or 6, and I want you to limit it to 1. But I was just getting ready to say, as you're talking, Charlie, I was going to say, now we know who the smart guy is in the group, but we're all smart the whole point is we're all smart in our own area. The challenge is for agents and all of us as human beings, I think this is foundational. Find out why you're here. Like, what were you put here on I won't get spiritual religious at all, but find out what you were put on the globe for. Like, what is the reason that you're here? And if you aren't doing that, it's getting undone. So if Nimesh wasn't the connector, Charlie wasn't the de-escalator, I would follow Charlie. He's just an easy guy to follow. I know he's got my back. I know he's kind. He's going to, if I get in trouble, he's going to get me out of it, and Tyler's going to take us to the moon on our own on our own vessel one day. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But you're smart in your own areas, right? And I think we have to work hard to find out what that is. If there's anybody listening to this conversation, want to shoot, I see my wife's on there. Hey, hi, honey. What are your strengths? What are your areas? Just throw them in the comments if you have any. And Vince, talk to me about we're all discovering our superpowers, but what do you think yours is? How do you feel about it?
Before I even answer that, Nimesh, I want you to think, to the listeners, if I'm an agent out there and I'm listening to this show and I want to, man, I'm really not great at networking. How do I get better? What would you tell that agent? What do you do first? You just go call your friends and hang out and just talk? Or what's your advice for somebody who's like, I really want to get better at this?
That's interesting. I think Tad alluded to it earlier on some of this, but we tend to go away from who we really are when it comes to trying to be somebody in real estate. And as soon as I found out that I'm the same person outside of real estate as I am inside of real estate, it made it very simple, right? So as far as networking and getting out there and being social, that's just my life. That's how my parents grew up and taught me, and that's how I grew up. So I was like, how do I put that into the real estate world, right? And so that's kind of what I did. As far as anybody that says, hey, I want to be a better network, well, then don't go to a conference or a convention or anything and hang out with the same people. Go find somebody else. Now, some of us, we tend to do the same thing. Like when I haven't seen Tyler or Tad in a long time, I'm going to go up to them and hang out with them if I can, right? But I do make it a point to go meet somebody else. I don't care where they're from, what part of the world they're in. You're always going to learn something new. So if you can get past that one point of learning something new from someone else, or actually meeting someone else, whether you want to learn about what language they speak or whatever it is, that's the beginning of you trying to get out of your own little shadow. So
that's very cool.
Inside hack too is that when you go sit with somebody else somewhere else, you can still put the people in a little text group and communicate from different areas in the room.
Yeah. Speaking of so I went to the Elite Retreat a couple of weeks ago in San Diego, and Remax did probably the coolest thing that they've done ever when it comes to, how we always have roundtables, whatever convention you're at, there's always roundtables. Well, what do? I'll sit with Charlie, Tad, and Tyler, and a couple of other people, and it's the same people over and over, right? Well, this time Remax, what they did was they assigned seats and made all of us sit in different places. And we got to look, we were forced to meet other people, which was really neat.
I love that. One of the things that I mentioned, I think for BOC as a suggestion, one of the things I mentioned that I think would be a cool idea is almost speed dating. Have a question that you want to ask somebody else and have something of value you can provide them. And so I remember going to the Inman conference years ago, and I had a list of like 20 people that I wanted to meet because I considered them influencers in the real estate landscape. And so I made it a point to find each one of those people and seek them out and then, network with them. And they're trying to do the same thing. But if you can find, 5 to 10 people that you can sit down with and have just a one-on-one discussion or go bar hopping with or whatever it is, that's when the real information comes out. Because you see the people up on the stage and that's great. But, when I want to find out what is the latest trend in Instagram, I'm going to seek Nimesh out, right? If I want, and don't sleep on Charlie's email either. Monday Mojo is absolutely fantastic. Somebody else posted it in there. And then obviously Tad's stuff from Rise Up in Real Estate is absolutely phenomenal. So I think surrounding yourself with the right people and seeking them out to network with them makes a huge difference. And I think that's where every agent needs to take that opportunity when they go to a conference, when they go to any kind of event, when they go to a local Chamber of Commerce event, who's doing what, where, and how well are they doing it, and find out, hey, what's behind that?
It's like exercise or being proactive in any area you want to get better at. This is our exercise. I mean, it's interesting that to be more social, you have to think about it. You have to be calculated in the decisions that you make. And I'm guilty of wanting to hang out with the guys and sit at the same tables and like everybody else. But what a wise idea to, get out of my comfort zone. Because I promise you, Nimesh, not everybody in that room, when seats were assigned, were like, woo, this is a great idea. Matter of fact, I bet they got some notes that said, hey, I want to sit with my folks. And I feel that way sometimes, but that's exercising your muscle of networking, connecting. I like that word better, Charlie. Vince, tell us your superpower, or do you want me to do it?
So after a lot of hard-fought internal battle, I think going into anything and every interaction with every person with only one agenda, but to help in any way. Genuinely, and I'm not just, this isn't lip service. You genuinely have to, and in my role, I look for talent, right? That's my job for our brokerage, is to look for talent. So going into a conversation, and that's part of why I ask Nimesh the question, is because I want other listeners to find value and walk out of this, podcast going, oh, I learned something today. So me being able to get my subconscious to walk into any interaction, just wanting to help that guy or gal, has changed my life. And it goes into the guy I'm sitting to at church, or the lady at the drive-thru, or the prospect I'm talking to formally about real estate. So I used to think connecting and networking was the superpower, but really for me, it's when I'm in that moment, my agenda only being to help that person. It's changed everything.
I love that, Vince, because I can tell you right now, just by you saying that right off the bat, you can tell you have a servant's heart, right? You have a servant's heart. And I think if you look around the little square here, I'm pretty sure that most of us have the same thing. Well, otherwise we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, or actually doing it successfully. So I appreciate you actually bringing that up, Vince.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's interesting that when David's my coach, and he was telling me, I was the director of opportunity getting ready to hire a new one. And when you tell David you're getting ready to hire somebody, he says, well, you're getting ready to have a 15-round boxing match with that person, and you're trying to knock them out every single round. Round one is this, round two is this. So I did this with Vince. And the last challenge was, David said two things. He goes, you need to make sure that your ceiling is this person's floor. And the second thing he said is, you need to make sure that sitting across the table from that person could recruit you. And I was like, he checks both those boxes. And I knew that was the right guy. And he really has been ceiling and floor. It's been amazing to watch. And I love that you're here, Bud, and I'm glad you're feeling better. This is such motivating conversation, like to hear what really gets to the root of all of it is the decision that we've made to help and serve other people. Anybody got anything else in the I got something in the and I might have missed it. Oh yeah. I won't say that out loud. That was a private. Margaret's one of our. We've got directors of hospitality at our company on this. I love that. That's exciting. So I wanted to talk a little bit, Charlie, real quick about how did you get? This is going to be kind of a hard question to answer, maybe. You know what, Charlie? I'm gonna wait on that one. I'm gonna come to that in a second. Nimesh.
Sorry, I just saw the private comment. So
yeah, me too. And now I'm really distracted. I'll have to this is going to be edited out. Chris is going to take care of this. But anyway, Nimesh, give us about 2 minutes worth of team knowledge. Like we haven't talked about it at all, but you're quite the team leader. And I know why, because you're a connector and you care so much about your people, like it's your family. But if I've got any team leaders out there listening, I know TJ's running a team. Jeremy's had teams, all this group. So talk to us a little bit about maybe the top 2 things to do to be a dynamic team leader, the best you can be.
I think as a team leader, you have to understand that you're there to serve everybody there. All right. Great leadership is actually being able to serve them first before your needs. Are you the one? Are you the visionary? Absolutely. Are you the one that has a plan? Absolutely. But you'll realize very quickly that you could do a lot more when you have 4 people doing something together on the same path versus one. Now, this is not a knock on any individual agents out there. Individual agents that want to do it themselves in their way, absolutely fine. And we see so many successful ones, right? But as far as team leaders go, I think too many team leaders get it wrong when it's all about me. What can I do to hire for them to make me better? What can I do to hire? Who can I hire to make me make more money and all that? You know, I'll leave it with this. Rachel is my partner on my team. You guys have seen her in the videos. A couple of years back, we stopped doing team goals. Now everyone's like, well, you don't have a goal. You don't have a goal. How do you not have a goal? Well, our goal was very simple. We said, we're no more team goals. Our only goal was to make sure that every single person on our team made six figures. From the staff to the actual agents, everyone made six figures, and that was our only goal. We're at the point where I think we're number one or number two in all of Texas, and we don't have a goal, right? Because it was all about the people. So you need to go back and concentrate on the people and who you hire, whether you're delegating, whether you're collaborating, whatever it is, it has to be done together. Otherwise, they're going to resent you. That's it. Simple.
Where does the mesh, you make it sound so fun. Like, where does the hard part happen? Like, what about when people have crazy clients? And what about when people fail? Like when they don't sell what they think they're going to sell? How do you just let your positive attitude lift them right up, or what?
Yeah, no, as long as they're doing what they're doing, right? You know, back to once we got rid of that mindset of they have to do this many transactions or this much volume, we started understanding what people were doing. Now, if they're out there making connections, they're out there doing their social media, doing open houses, getting out in the community, doing things for everyone outside of themselves, then we felt like they were a valuable member to our team. We didn't look at it as who brings in the most amount of contracts and all that. Now, I truly also believe, and it's a positive mindset, but I truly believe that if you're doing all of these items, then the money will come and the contracts will come. But also, you know, when you're doing all the things that benefit the whole team as a whole, then you have a lot of leverage. So anytime somebody's having a problem with a client or a crazy client or anything like that, I'm jumping in. Somebody else is jumping in. We're all helping each other do it. So as silly as that or simple as that sounds, as long as you're going through the motions and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, we never looked at the numbers at all. So it always ended up working out, or it still does end up working out for most of us.
Cool. Charlie, you seem to agree with that. You were giving little hand motions or.
So we've had a lot of conversations lately around transactional, relational. You know, if you go to the quantum physics world, you'd understand something about your thoughts creating things. I truly believe you start on one end with these transactional goals, and that helps you build a structure within how you operate. But there comes a point once you're executing on that you then ask the question of, who do I want to be? And who do I want to serve? And what does that look like? And just like Nimesh said, your pursuit of that person doing what you need to do in those moments that you're doing it will create all of the transactional pieces that you've laid out for yourself. Now, I do think both of those work together, that you have to have that initial transactional goal, that you have to understand that this is not a get rich business. You have to understand it's about all the things that you hear all the time. But I think then you jump because, right, this is not rocket science, but it's our rocket science. So we go deep on this, and it means that you then determine, like, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? Who do I want to be? And the pursuit of that will create a lot of transactional benefit. Sorry,
Charlie always says everything that I'm thinking in my head, but a lot smarter and, and all that for sure. But I just do want to piggyback off of what Charlie just said there too. Yeah, I'm not so, oh my God, everything's going to work out. None of that, right? He said it. You still have to understand all that. And then as a team leader, I do have my transactional and volume goals, because otherwise, how am I going to set a budget? How am I going to set anything as far as how much I'm either earning, paying? I have to have a P&L, right? So yes, you pay attention to it. But I think too many people then get caught up in the team thinking that way. And so as soon as I took that off of the team members, as far as you have to do X amount of transactions, X amount of volume to be on my team. Once I took that off and said, here's what you need to be doing to better yourself, that's when they started doing more and they started doing better, you know? So now, do they have their own personal goals? Probably. But when the pressure wasn't on them the way as a team leader would normally do, that's when they all exploded. So yeah, Charlie, I'm going to just start sending things to you, and you just send them back to me in a more educated way, and then I'll put it out there.
Well, Tyler's
He's just-
smarter than
yeah.
I am. Let him talk and let's see what
Tyler's
comes
not
out of
smart.
him.
He's all
No, I was going to say I just need all of Charlie's Monday mojos, and I'll throw them in AI, and then
That's what I was
we can
gonna
make
say.
a bot that Nimesh can
Yeah.
send stuff to.
And you could the bot will do it for you, Nimesh.
Yep.
No, here's what it is, right? This team right here, Charlie comes up with the content, gives it to Tyler. Tyler will clean it up with AI, and then he'll send it to me to get it out to the world. You know?
Mhm.
Perfect.
And I'll
Sounds
rip
like
it off and duplicate it. Let's go.
Done
Sounds
deal.
like a plan. Yeah, that's what's the name of your newsletter website, Charlie? Somebody's asking.
I don't know.
Tyler, what's the name of it?
So
Monday
I just
Mojo.
moved. I just moved because of Tyler. My bomb distribution list wasn't working very well, so I just moved to Beehive, and I'll come back and put that in the comments below. Or if there's anyone that is on the list that can put that in there, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, this is all. I'm more focused on getting it out, and really, I haven't made mine open to everyone. It is a lot intercompany.
I got you, Charlie.
Sorry?
You know the best part of Tad, I got to tell you something funny here. So Charlie does this, intercompany thing where he'll go out and just kind of do a little live for his people, and because he doesn't have that personality of mine where I'm like, oh, everybody look at me. He's not that guy. He's like, hey, I want to give you guys some advice and some good mojo here, and that's that. But every once in a while, Charlie forgets that he puts it live for the whole country to watch. And so I'll log on suddenly, and I'm like, oh, Charlie's speaking this morning. And then Tyler and I will be like, hey, Charlie, how are you doing? And Charlie's suddenly like, you can see him talking to a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Why are Tyler and Ramesh watching right now? But it's amazing content, I'll tell you that.
I did the same thing last year. I don't remember where it was, but I was on there and he looked at me like, what are you doing on here? But I think you just summarized our whole 1 hour show, Charlie, with that last answer by going, I don't know. Because that's not your thing. It's not your area of world domination. And I just think you guys have become so much more clear to me in who you are in the last 45 minutes to an hour. I want to ask you one last question. I know we're right at an hour, but I wanted to get this out here before we close. Can you each of you tell me what's the number one thing that agents are talking about in the office these days or on your social platforms? Or what are we talking about right now? Is it maybe positive, maybe negative, maybe neither one? I'd just love to hear your ideas.
Here, I'll throw mine out there. This one's positive and negative at the same time. All of my agents are talking about how the professionals are going to win in 2025 and 2026. And so positive because that's what they feel. They feel like educating themselves and cleaning up their systems and becoming more efficient. They're really happy and they're very bullish on 2025. The negative part of that is they think that a lot of other agents that aren't going to do any of these things are going to drop out. So they're happy about that because there's more business for them overall. So that's what we're all talking about right now, honestly.
Love it. What about Charlie or Tyler?
Yeah, we're a lot the same. I mean, it's become very, very evident. And we're a very productive firm, by the way. And it becomes very, very evident very quick who's not keeping up and they tend to fall off and go somewhere else. So the group gets tighter and hopefully even more efficient and ready to go. So there's been the bout of uncertainty that I think we've all had for a while, especially with all the headlines out there and everything that's been thrown at us over the course of the past 6 months, that now that hopefully a lot of that is behind us, that we're ready to roll, ready to get down to business. And there's a lot that have left and gotten a job. And we are still in this and we are still going deep.
Love it. Tyler, what about you?
Next time, let me go in front of Charlie because he just says what I think and says it better, like Nimesh says. But he's 100% correct. We're going to have attrition. We're going to have agents moving. We're going to have agents, kind of all over the place. And it's really like herding cats, trying to get them to focus on what matters that helps their bottom line. And so that's where we're at, talking about getting back to basics. And that's been a common theme over the last year and a half, because last year was not good. This year was better, but not great. So we're just trying to get back to the habits that put us in this situation in the first place. And it really is, like you said, like working out. What are you doing on a daily basis? My brother asked me this question when I was 21. I was in real estate and I was living with him at the time. And he was like, what are you doing? What are you doing this morning to make money next month? And it was that simple of a question. It was like, hey, what do I need to wake up and do? What money generating activities do I need to do? It's not necessarily the things that we want to do. It's really easy to get in bad habits and say, hey, this is more fun. But to get into the, hey, I need to make 10 calls today. I need to make 20 calls. Or I need to reach out. I need to send out these mailers to this farming neighborhood that I'm doing. Those kind of things are what agents need to focus on for 2025.
Doesn't it just make sense, though, that our developer friend is sleeping on his brother's couch?
I had my own bedroom, Charlie.
So to wrap us up here, Charlie, I want you to think about it. Think about our hour and give me a good title, because I have to give a title to our editor, and you probably can come up with a good one for this episode. But I'm longing for a day that we don't have to say, let's get back to the basics. That we never have to say that again, where we just do the basics. The basics they're not the basics. They're the main thing. And my wife has been amazing to me, obviously, in a lot of ways. But this morning I was reminded again when I took my two of my kids to school, and I'm pulling in the parking lot of the school, and one of my 5-year-old son in the back says, "Let's do affirmations." And he said, it floors me every time, and you guys will feel this with me. He said, "I don't have to, I get to." And it blew my mind. I'm like, at 5 years old, she's taught them that life lesson. And if we could all take that and look at, and you guys do it, if we could all look at our professions in that way, like those calls, we get to make those. You know why? Because we know what life we can live if we do. And we know the amount of money we can give away, and the people that we can help, and the lives we can change. I mean, I'll never forget, Nimesh texted me after we had a hurricane. He goes, "You guys okay?" I don't talk to Nimesh every day. But the fact that he thought about me, that's the way life should be lived. You guys have given, I can't thank you enough for being here, giving us some of your time and some of your knowledge. If you guys want to reconnect with these guys, they're an open book, except for Charlie, doesn't know how to open the book. But they'll be there for you like they are for me. Thank you guys for being here. Rise Up Nation, thanks for listening in. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Tad, for having us, brother.
Thank you.